video, I'm going to talk to you about why I drive this piece of shit 2009 Honda Civic. It is an absolute piece of junk. I've drove it since I graduated college, which was about 4 years ago, and gets me from point A to point B, and I'm going to tell you why it's a good financial decision to consider driving a car like this. It might not need to be this shitty, but driving a car that's used and not financed. But it is a very cold day here in Southwest Michigan, so let's hop inside real quick. All right, now let's hop on my computer and I'll show you some stuff that you probably should see. So I want to start with an interesting fact, and one interesting fact is that the average millionaire drives a 4-year-old paid off in cash vehicle. Most of the time a millionaire drives very not flashy, unsexy cars. Like the stereotype of the guy pulling up in a Ford F-150 from 2010 is a real stereotype. That guy has more money in the bank probably than everybody else there. Boom, F-150 right here. The other extremely startling fact is how much cars depreciate the moment you drive them off the lot, the moment they're brand new. Basically, from this article and what I've read in the past, a brand new car will depreciate by 20% the moment you drive it off the lot. So that is if you bought a $100,000 car, basically the moment you start driving it after it being brand new and now it's a used car, it will drop down to $80,000. And then 15% year after year, basically leveling off after 4 years or on average. Which is why buying an asset like this, or a liability really, is such a mistake that so many people make. Because not only are you taking out a loan that's going to be 7% and you're going to end up paying way more for what that car is worth and it depreciating in value. So you're buying a liability with debt. So it's a double whammy and it's going to be really hard to get ahead. So I looked up the average car loan interest rate right now. Basically, depending on your interest, it's going to vary a lot, but anywhere from 5 to 15.43%, which would be a lot. But for this sake, I'm going to do about 7% because I think most people would be somewhere between 7-8% probably. I want to run 3 examples, one being a brand new Tesla, which is right now is about $43,000. And then number 2 would be a 3-year-old Tesla, which right now sells for about $25,000. Why Tesla? I don't know. It just happened to be the car I chose today. Because the car really is irrelevant. It's more about the price. If you've never seen this before, this is an investment calculator. And it's like you can do this for loans, for mortgages, for any type of loan you want to take out. And it's a really cool tool to see how much you're going to end up paying, how much the interest is, and all that. And it's a really good thing to have in your back pocket to pull this out if you want to buy a house, a car, etc. So for this theory, we're going to run a $42,000 brand new Tesla. We're going to put 20% down. We're going to do a 6-year loan, so 72 months, and let's do 7% interest rate. I want you to keep in mind that this is just the monthly payment. This does not account for insurance and all that, because if you take out a loan, you have to get a higher level full coverage insurance. That is state to state. That is what the rule here in Michigan is, but you really should protect your state because that is different places. So if you bought a brand new Tesla, put 20% down, so you need $8,500. Then the monthly payment is going to be $572 a month for 6 years, and you're going to end up paying $8,000 in interest. Now, where this gets interesting is not only are you going to pay $50,000 for this $42,000 car, it's going to depreciate by 20% after you buy it. So immediately you're going to lose $8,000 in value. It's going to drop down to $34,000, and then another 15% year after year after that. So you're going to pay $50,000 for something that's going to only be worth $25,000 in a matter of 3 years. Let's run another model. Let's say we bought a used 3-year-old model Tesla. And from what I looked up, it costs about $25,000 on average. So let's go with $25,000. And again, the Tesla factor doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that the car costs $25,000. That's what we're looking at. So let's do 20% down. Let's do a 72 month. We can actually play with that. The months a lot because that'll change things, but do 7% interest. And so you end up with this much monthly payment plus insurance, of course, and you end up paying $45,500 in total interest, and you'll end up paying $24,000 for the car. Well, really, you end up paying $29,000 for the car if you account for the down payment originally. Now, since this car is about 3 years old, it's going to depreciate slightly less, but it will still depreciate about 10% a year. So if you do some quick math, after about 3 years, it should be worth somewhere around $18,000, $1,750, but 10% decreases in value with each year, so it'd be a little bit more than $1,750. You can see how your car is going to depreciate in value. You're paying way too much for it. And since this is a depreciating asset, this isn't like a house, for example, where a house in theory is going to raise in value. So there's some offset there on what you're paying for the interest, especially if you hold the house for a long period of time. But when situations like this, you're just going to end up owing more than what the car's car's worth, and you end up in a sticky situation where you basically have to ride out the loan and or fork more money up and then come up with a new down payment for a new vehicle if that's what you desire. Obviously, some dealers will do some deals for you if you bring it in and et cetera, but really that's just fancy for them locking you in forever. They want you to owe them money forever. That's how they make money. So that's how car dealerships make a lot of money. Let's run one last option, which is going to be paying cash for a car. And realistically, I know this is difficult, but anywhere from 10 to 15,000, if you can save that much money and pay cash for a car, you're gonna be way better off. And at that price point, the reason I say that price point, you can actually buy some decent cars. Right here we have a 16,000, I guess, but a Nissan Rogue S Sport. I'm sure you could buy a 2017 one for 13,000. Decent looking cars here, all within range, and it might not be the sexiest car you've ever seen in your life, but at least these won't be digging a hole in your pocket. The only reason you drive a brand new car versus a used car is because you care about what other people think. There might be some argument for reliability and all that, et cetera, but really, what is the real reason you want a new car? You want to be financially healthy? You really should never finance a car. You don't need to buy a really, really shitty car even. But what you do need to do is be really aware of how much money you are losing with these loans. One of the biggest aspects about getting ahead financially is understanding money a little bit, understanding where it's going, how to have your money accumulate for you and build interest rather than paying that interest to somebody else. And a car loan is one of the biggest ways that people get you. There's credit card debt and there's car loans, and that is how you lose money and it's how you stay behind. Came here next day. I wanted to add something to this video, is that you don't have to live like this forever. You don't have to have these shitty cars forever. I'm actually in a second vehicle I have here, which is it's for my business, but I paid cash for this one as well. But the goal here is not to have shitty things forever, to have a shitty car forever, but the goal is to get ahead financially, right? And that's the whole point of this video, is that you should know how the loans are working against you and how you can get ahead of those loans and the real expense that it is charging you when you don't have a nice bit of capital built up that will help you pay for these things in the future if you desire. That's all. Check out how beautiful it is out here today. Lovely Michigan. Lovely for about 1% of the year, maybe. Well, 1% of the winter, I should say. The summer's here, amazing. All right, I'm signing off. That's enough of me blabbering. Have a good day and be financially smart.